Finding Nemo was one of the saddest animated movies that ever aired in the Disney studios. It was released in 2003 and was all about a very protective clownfish who was searching for his missing son with the help of his friends. With only $94 million in budget, the film generated $940 million in the box office, which was 10 times more in terms of profit. Today, I want us to look at every character who featured in the first movie, from the fish to all the other creatures on land and sea, then later look at all the voice actors and celebrities who took part in voicing the characters behind the scenes, and how they are holding up in 2025 after 22 years. And we shall start with a sea turtle called Crush, who was one of the most positive fellas in the ocean. He loved traveling in the ocean currents, and was a pretty chill turtle with a very laid-back personality. He was 150 years old, but did not look or feel old. He spoke in the language of a surfer, and he was seen helping a fish called Marlin and Dory get to Sydney Harbor to rescue his son called Nemo. And if you were keen on Easter eggs, you probably saw him during the end credits of WALL-E, and he also appeared in Toy Story as a sticker on Andy's door. Andrew Stanton was the man who voiced him. He is an American filmmaker who was actually the one that produced and directed this film. He also directed films like Finding Dory of 2016, WALL-E of 2008, and he will also write and produce the upcoming Toy Story animation of 2026. Nemo was one of the main characters in this movie. He was the only living son of a fish called Marlin, and was known for his energetic and funny nature. He was very friendly to anyone he met on his way, and just like Crush, Nemo loved exploring new places in the sea. This love of adventure resulted in him being captured by scuba divers, and that was how he got lost in the film. His father was very overprotective of him, and it made him feel confined and unable to do what he wanted. He also showed some signs of bravery when he was leading a school of fish to direct them in swimming downward to break the net that captured them. And just like his father, he was an orange clownfish with big white stripes and small black stripes. Voiced by Alexander Gould, who is an American actor. In the second movie of Bambi, he was the one who voiced Bambi, and he also voiced Jimmy Olsen in Superman Unbound of 2013. Marlin was the overprotective father of Nemo who we mentioned before. He lived inside a sea anemone in the Great Barrier Reef, and was once in love with his mate called Coral, who was eaten in a barracuda attack along with all his 399 unborn clownfish children. The only child who survived the attack was Nemo, and the reason he was very overprotective of him was because he was the only one who remained. After his son got lost, he did all he could to go and rescue him. He was one of the most determined characters in the history of Disney, and not even his small size could stop him from saving his only son. He was initially very playful and happy in the beginning of the film when everything was good, but after all the loss he went through, he became more tougher and braver, and not to mention very sad and in pain. His fatherly voice came from Albert Brooks, who is an American actor and comedian, and is also a director and screenwriter nowadays. He was also the voice of Tiberius in The Secret Life of Pets, and now lives in California with his wife and 2 kids. Marlin had a friend called Dory, who was a regal blue fish that suffered from short-term memory loss and was also a bit ditzy. She was the most hospitable and friendly fish in the sea, and always loved talking to anyone and everyone who wanted to hold a conversation with her. Her friendly nature made her to offer herself in helping Marlin to find his lost son, and she did it with so much love and dedication as if it was her own son. And throughout the journey to rescue Nemo, Dory told jokes and played games as a way of easing the tension that Marlin had. She was voiced by Ellen DeGeneres, who was once a television host and producer. She had her own sitcom show called Ellen, which ran from 1994 to 1998, and then she hosted the Ellen DeGeneres Show from 2003 to 2022. She retired from the screens after the allegations of which you already know, and she now lives a life of privacy in the countryside with her wife. Another character was Mr. Ray, who was a spotted eagle ray that was the teacher in Nemo's class. He was the jolliest science teacher working in marine education, and was a practical guy who even took his students for a ride on his back to teach them about other creatures of the sea. He was also very protective to his students and was seen telling them to hide under him when the divers arrived at the coral reef. His appearances were brief, and his voice was from a man called Bob Peterson. He is an American cartoonist and filmmaker, and also a voice actor for Pixar animated movies. He was one of the directors of Up, and also the one who came up with the creation of The Good Dinosaur in 2015. Gill was a Moorish fish who was a leader of the tank gang. He was the maverick of the dentist's office fish tank, and was a leader who had followers that hanged on his every word and were drawn to his magnetic personality. When he was young, he lived in the ocean but was then taken to live in a tank. He always dreamt of breaking free and returning to the ocean, and his failed escape attempts broke his spirit each and every time. But when Nemo arrived in the tank, he was inspired again to find his way back to the sea. He was clever and intelligent, and he supported Nemo in his quest to find a way out of the tank. A brave leader voiced by Willem Dafoe, who is a well-known American actor for his role as Norman Osborn in the Spider-Man trilogy from 2002 to 2007. He now has one child, and is also an Italian citizen through marriage. Peach was a starfish who was purchased by the dentist on eBay, and was known to be one of the few fish that could read and understand English. She enjoyed being in one place for a long time, and the others used her as the lookout when trying to escape the tank. She also liked to count how many cups of coffee the dentist drank, and this made her guess his next bathroom break in order for the rest to carry out their escape plans while he's away. He also looked after Nemo as if he was her younger brother, and always defended him when the others tried to pick on him. She was voiced by Allison Janney, who is an American actress. She has never been married or have any children, and she now lives alone surrounded by friends. Gurgle was a yellow and purple royal grama that was bought by the dentist from Pet Palace. In his first appearances, he was green in color, but we later came to realize that he was not green and was just very dirty and covered with slime. A shrimp called Jacques was the one who cleaned him up, and he swore never to become dirty again. He was the only one who did not want to escape the tank, and he had some rainbow colors which reflected his feelings. He turned into bright shades of blue when he was anxious, and this effect was mostly caused by the feeling of danger or getting dirty again. He was a very expensive fish, and was just a guy voiced by Austin Pendleton. Austin is an American actor and a theater instructor that started his acting career in 1962. He played the role of Max in the Muppet movie of 1979, and has been married to his wife Katina Cummings since 1970. Deb was a blue and white humbug who always believed that her reflection was her twin sister called Flo. She never felt lonely because she was convinced that her reflection was her identical twin sister, and this made her feel very positive and relaxed even when everyone else was in panic mode. We don't really know what happened to her after she escaped to the ocean, and we also don't know how she survived with knowing that her sister was just her reflection. Voiced by Vicki Lewis, who is an American actress and singer. In the Godzilla film of 1998, she played the role of Dr. Elsie Chapman, and also played Drizelda in the Tom and Jerry movie of 2014. The Moonfish were a school of fish who appeared when Marlin was trying to ask them for directions, but they swam away. They appeared when they wanted to entertain Dory, and they started doing various impressions which consisted of them moving into different positions to form various shapes like an arrow and a sailing ship. They were the ones who gave Marlin and Dory directions to find Nemo, and each time they did an impression, they sang a song as a way of communication. Their voice was from John Ratzenberger, who is a voice actor that voiced Ham in the Toy Story franchise and the Abominable Snowman in Monsters, Inc. He also voiced Fritz in Inside Out and the Underminer in The Incredibles.